What's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here with a very special unboxing today. We have the Starfield controller and headset. We're going to unbox them and see what they look like and try them out. But first, let's start with the Starfield controller. This one is getting a lot of coverage online for its particular features that it has. Usually controllers are typically all about large splashes of color or certain artful designs like drawing a dragon or a main character on them. But this one just sort of seems to have almost like airplane controls written all over it in order to, sort of fly a spaceship. You sort of have all the different labels on the buttons and stuff so you know what everything does. It looks really interesting, and ever since we saw the Starfield presentation, we were obviously very excited to see these come out. So, it's a little seal there, and we'll raise up the lid. It says, "For all into the Starfield" on the inside of the box. And of course, it's got the Starfield label right there. And then it also has something else that's kind of interesting. It's got your batteries, of course, but it's got like more labels right there. Very interesting. Now, looking at the controller itself, put it here on the desk in comparison with everything else. Box looks great. We've got our 2 batteries if we need them, but I usually swap them out with a rechargeable because that's how I like to play. But yeah, we've got a couple of things that we can look at here. Let's see, it says LB has the word scan above it. Mode is the RB button. Okay, there's already like some grippy texture right here over the left and right bumper, which looks really cool. And then of course we've got these translucent triggers, so you can actually see the trigger mechanisms inside there. It's been a while since we've really seen any sort of translucence with controllers. This seems like a very small thing to do, but it adds something to it. Very interesting. And of course on the back here it's got in red, it says property of Constellation. And then it says RMPC VC or V2400 rad hard. Refer to flight manual before operating. And then it says expansion port, and it has some arrows, which this is pointing to where, you usually plug in like a mic or a keyboard or any other sort of fancy features that you want to add to your controller. And then of course we open that up. On the inside it says "for all into the Starfield." Kind of an interesting thing on the inside of the controller, and you could put your batteries and or your battery pack in there. And then of course you got your USB-C port on the top, which is really great. This is something they've done with the Xbox Series controllers as opposed to the Xbox One controllers. These USB-C cables will last us a lot longer, a lot more plugging and unplugging, and you don't have to worry about like the port or anything inside there typically getting damaged over time. But I do like that grippy feel on the bumpers. Even the triggers have that sort of grippy feel where you're going to be placing your fingers right here. There is sort of a grippy feel there. Looks great. And then of course these darker gray pads that we have here on the back, on both sides there, these are kind of that, they have them on some of the Elite controllers. The 8-bit do Bluetooth Wireless Ultimate Pro controller has it, and the GillyKit King Kong Pro 2. These are my top 2 controllers. They both sort of have this grippy surface. This one's a little more softer and feels good in your hand, whereas the other ones are a little more coarse and grippier, but you know, it's all up to preference at that time. And then each of the buttons here just has different flight control descriptions on the controller itself. It's a really beautiful controller, and I actually like the little rainbow that's coming out of the guide button. And then of course the D-pad looks really cool. It's very clicky. It's kind of that D-pad that you can sort of roll, which might be good for certain fighting games if that's what you're into. But obviously I think you're probably going to want to play Starfield with this controller. But yeah, as you can see, other controllers typically not involving that diagonal input as much. It's a little harder to get on those. The sticks, of course, gray up top and then red on the bottom, which actually kind of a nice color swap there. You're seeing these little touches of red. It's all very subtle. And we have a concave dip there, which is much deeper than other controllers, but this is pretty typical for Xbox. And then of course it's got that grip around the edge of the sticks, like so. Top of the controller is smooth. Of course, you got your screenshot button, you got start and select, which those are pretty tall and thick buttons. So I mean, you can tell that this thing was definitely crafted with a lot of intention, and it's made to look like a very beautiful controller, and hopefully it'll last me a while. That's been my biggest concern with some of the Xbox controllers has been that stick drift will set in, or the triggers or the bumpers will start to have issues. Now the next thing that we were all freaking out about was the Starfield headset. Looks absolutely gorgeous. And of course both of these just have a little tear strip and you can get right into it. I thought I was going to have a knife, but these are pretty easy to get it open. Okay, it's already coming wrapped in a little bit of a Starfield star map here. A little bit of a soft material there, which looks great. Okay, and it's taped on the side there. And we can open that. Okay, there's our headphone. Oh, wow. Okay, it looks even cooler. Okay, let me set that down while we check for some other stuff. Okay, we do have a USB cable, which is a USB-C. Once again, top of the line here. And it's a gray cable, so it looks pretty nice. I'm going to put that right there. Okay, we've got your basic operating instructions. And yeah, even the inside of the box, you know, it's got those sort of flight control looking art style to it. And then it says for all into the Starfield. I'm going to put that all nice and clean. Now, there's something that, you know, it's these little details I'm seeing here on the headset. And I think they did the same with the controller. There's that hint of gold there, right? And this one sort of has that same thing. And yeah, it's got a little bit of a protector right there. Some styrofoam. It looks really good. Okay, so these are, we've got very soft gray leather earmuffs. And of course, we've got red leather here. It's very soft on the top, so that's going to fit good. But right about here-ish, where my tip of my thumbs are, there's the hard adjustment part right there. I can feel it. So you might feel it here on the sides of your head. That's something we're going to test and talk about right now. First thing of note, there's a little button right there, probably to sync up your headphones. And then, of course, on the right side here, we've got the USB-C plug-in right there. On the sides, let's see, it says volume, maximum, minimum. Okay, So it actually, this is actually, I hold this up for you. This is actually the volume on the side cup. And so if we turn it all the way this way, that's to the max, and it clicked. And if we turn it all the way this way, it gets minimum. Now, one other cool thing, I'm actually going to get a little closer for this. You can actually see that there's this indicator on the side, and there's a very tiny red arrow just above the tip of my thumb there, and we can see that we can line it up with the numbers 1 through 10 right there, and it clicks very, very satisfyingly whenever it hits 1 or 10. So even if you're just adjusting it while it's on your head, you're not gonna have to like take it off to dial in the volume. If you like it low, or if you like it at the max, or if you want to kind of just dial it in based on how you're hearing the volume. Okay, the other side, very interesting. This is balance between what they've called comms and cockpit. Okay, I actually have to turn it the right way here. Yeah, so we got comms and cockpit, and it's going to do the very same thing. If I move, okay, yeah, from here, it's got the numbers 1 through 10, and I can dial it to where comms are at the loudest, and then of course I can dial it all the way down. Yeah, to switch between comms and cockpit. So very interesting. It's going to be fun to sort of mess with that. It even says the word adjust right there, which would sort of be like, you know, where you're going to pull this and adjust it to the size of your head. Of course, we got the microphone here, which has a little sliver of a wrapper over it. But once again, we're seeing transparency right here on the mic itself, and so you can see the inner workings of the mic. That's kind of cool. It's really hard to see like everything that's going on, but yeah, you just see like a little bit of wires and a little receiver there. And of course, they were showing that you could sort of fold up the mic like that if you want it out of the way, and then of course you can bring it down as needed. It also has left and right labels on the inside, which is always nice because, you know, you never know. Sometimes you set them down, you forget which side is which. Okay, now putting them on. These are definitely closed. These are closed headphones, so not really hearing a whole lot of the outside world while you're gaming. But it's a comfortable fit. It's cupping over the ear. I'm not having any issues like I was saying here. I'm not feeling that hard plastic that's under here. There's enough leather to sort of separate that. So that was one thing of concern. The other thing that I really worry about when I'm using various headsets is that this part on the top, this sort of plush, this is leather here, but this soft material is going to sort of compress over time after being on your head and, you know, just sort of being roughed up over the years, just natural use. Well, I've tried several headphones over the years. My Sennheiser's HD 590s here, which are, you know, the brown and ivory with some silver trim. Yeah, the 598 actually. These are great. It's held up pretty well. You can see there's a little bit of an indentation, but like it hasn't changed the way it's felt. This right here is my daily driver. These are the Logitech G Pro X. This is the wired version. These are closed, and of course, it's got the leather on top, and it's a much thinner layer of leather than this one. So this Starfield one, this is very much the Ferrari when it comes to at least comfort and, you know, sort of making physical design really appealing. And then here I've got the Astro. This is the Pro Tournament set that I got. This one only I think it only works with PS4 and PC. These are comfortable, but it's very soft plush material there, and you can tell it's got a little bit of an indentation, but it's cloth. It's all cloth on the ears and on the top of the head, which is comfortable, but it does get hot. That cloth is way different from leather. And the Sennheisers actually have cloth around the ears as well. But yeah, this looks really good, and I actually want to point out kind of the other thing here is that gold that is in between the adjustment layer and the leather earmuff, that gold just looks really nice, and you can see it on both sides, and it sort of has that rough and rugged. This feels like something an astronaut is wearing. Once again, the rainbow property of Constellation. It's got left and right on the gray part here on both sides, so in case you find yourself challenged again, you can check that. And then of course it does have that red arrow that we talked about with the volume adjustment. It's also on this side, and you can use that to adjust, right? So you can turn this dial. I really like it. I really think that's cool. You've got your sync button. Okay, very cleverly hidden is a mute button right here. So here's your mic, mute button hidden right there. So this is all about form factor. Like they're really trying to like hide all the features and the buttons and not have to have like a wire hanging down with the mute switch, you know, like all these different things. You know, this is something that's modern. It's a wireless headset. You're certainly getting what you're paying for with this. But also it just looks gorgeous, and I think you're going to see me wielding both of these when we're playing Starfield later this year. I'm definitely going to equip these myself. But yeah, so far, design is beautiful, comfort is there, and what I might do is just maybe adjust it like one tick. I don't have the massivest cranium here, but just to kind of get it to where it sits on the ears just right. And I want to go to, let's go to this screen right here. Yeah, just so you get an idea of what it looks like. I dig it. And I can just dial in, and it clicks at the middle there, and then yeah, so it clicks whenever I have comms and well, I'd call it gameplay, but they called it comms and cockpit. So it's like cockpit implies, you know, the game or whatever. So, and then of course the mic looks good, and you can fold it up and have it out of the way if you want as well. You got your, see if I can find it just by feeling. Yeah, right here's the mute button for the mic. So I can find that right there. So in case I wanted to mute that. But it clicks in the middle, which is nice there. Volume adjustment on this side clicks whenever it hits minimum or maximum, which is dope. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think this is a quality piece of equipment. I think they're both really good. It's a great deal. I purchased them both from Microsoft. So once again, want to thank Microsoft and Bethesda for teaming up and coming up with this very beautiful set here. And I usually don't opt in on stuff like this whenever it's for a game or something like that. I'm not usually the first to buy a themed console or a themed controller, but my excitement for Starfield is is pretty over the moon. Not to be too much into space at the moment. And the design is just something I really like. You know, it makes me think of the future war cult designs in Destiny 2, which I really enjoy. It brings me this sort of nostalgia for the 80s and 90s. Space and astronauts and just different color schemes and stuff that we grew up with, you know, different. It definitely has this sort of retro space feel to it, you know, even though their technology is futuristic and very modern and stuff like that, it certainly has a very appealing color design. Having that screenshot button snapped right in there, I might map that, if we're playing this on Steam, might actually map that to F12 so that it'll actually grab screenshots while we're playing Starfield, because we know that's going to be something that we're 100% wanting to do. And it also even says grip here on the controller. It does say grip here at the bottom. But yeah, I really enjoy all of these sort of labels here. Above the Y button it says mode, grip 2, X it says target, B it says exit, A says lock, and then it says flight control right there. It says RCS, Novax remote manual, pilot controller, and then start it says DAT, I guess short for data. The back button here says cam, screenshot right there. Then we've got power dist, which I imagine might be power distribution, which will probably let us switch between, you know, sending energy to weapons or towards the power of the ship itself, you know, sort of diverting energy from different parts to achieve what you want. And then, of course, it's got this little arc here, and it's letting you know the throttle up and down. And then LB is scan, RB is mode. So maybe they're giving us a hint about the default controls for Starfield. But regardless, a beautiful piece of equipment. They certainly come at a cost, but I do believe that the cost and the value is worth it, especially if you're excited for Starfield and if you find that this equipment looks appealing to you. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm definitely happy to add these to the collection. And then, of course, you're just going to want to take the USB-C cable and plug it in, which that was on the right side here where the indicators are. So I don't know if you can actually use it while plugged in. Like I said, we're going to do a lot of testing with this, and this works on PC and Xbox, so no fear there. So once again, I want to thank you all for watching. Definitely hit that like button if you enjoyed the content here, the Starfield controller and headset unboxing. Definitely quite the duo here, and very excited to be wielding these while we play Starfield later this year. So thank you for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.